Section 13.2. Our objective today is I can state and apply the slope formula. Remember that slope is a ratio that represents the steepness of a line, okay, how steep it is. Remember, slope is the vertical change divided by or over the horizontal change. And remember, on a graph, y represents the vertical distance and x represents the horizontal distance. And so if I have a line, so the line I have, this line, and I want to know the slope in the line, then I represent that by the change in y, which is represented by this, over the change in x, which is represented by that, okay? And so the actual formula for slope is, we use m to represent slope, and it's y2 minus y1 so again, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the slope is represented by that ratio, okay? And so if I know any 2 points on the line, I can find the slope. So if I have it, for example, a line that goes through the point 5, 4, and the point 1, negative 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, negative 2. I have this line, okay? And that slope is represented by the difference in the y's, so 4 minus negative 2, over the difference in the x's, 5 minus 1. So 4 minus a negative 2 is 6, 5 minus 1 is 4, and that reduces to 3 over 2, okay? So that means I go up 3 and right 2 to get to the next point on the line. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, I'm on the line. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, I'm back to this point. So every, this tells me the directions to get to the next point, okay? Then next example, I have negative 1, negative 2, and 3, negative 5. So negative 1, negative 2 would be here, and 3, negative 5. Whoops, not enough room here. Let me move this up. Oops. Okay, so negative 1, negative 2 is right here, and 3, negative 5. I still didn't leave enough room. Well, let's change this to 3, negative 4. Okay, so we have this line. Okay, and so the slope would be the difference in the y, so negative 2 minus a negative 4 over negative 1 minus 3. So that's negative 2 plus 4, so that's 2, and negative 4, which reduces down to negative 1/2. Okay? So notice that this slope is positive, and as you move from left to right, the line is rising. This slope is negative, and as you move from left to right, the slope is falling. Okay, so the positive or negative tells you a lot about the slope. Okay, then let's look at example 3. So if I have negative 4, 5, and 3, 5. Okay, let's graph those and see what they look like. Negative 4, 5, and 3, 5. Okay, notice that this line is a horizontal line. It's a flat line. So it has no steepness. So the slope will be 0, or should be 0. And notice when we do the distance formula, it's 5 minus 5 over negative 4 minus 3, or 0 over negative 7, which is just 0. So horizontal lines have slope equals 0. Okay? Now, what about a vertical line? So example 4. If I have the points 2, 4, so over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the point 2, 1, or 2, negative 1, I'm sorry. Okay, notice that that's a vertical line, which is infinite steepness. And when I do the slope formula, okay, I get 4 minus negative 1 over 2 minus 2, which is 5 over 0. And remember, we can never, ever, ever have 0 in the denominator. So for a vertical line, the slope is undefined. Okay, so undefined slope if the line is vertical. And notice in vertical lines the x value is the same, and notice in horizontal lines the y value is the same. Okay? So let's say that example, I want to find 3 other points on the line that passes through the point 1, 2 and has slope of 2/3, or 2 over 3. So what we do is we go to our coordinate plane and we plot the point that we know. So we know 1, 2, so over 1 up 2. So we know that point is on the line. But we also know the slope is 2/3. So the 2 tells me to go up 2 and right 3. So from this point, if I go up 2 and right 3, I find another point on the line. And I go up 2 and right 3 again, I find another point on the line. I could also go negative 2, negative 3, which tells me to go down 2 and left 3. So from this point I could go down 2 and 1, 2, 3, and I find another point on the line. And this is the point negative 2, 0. This is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 4, 7. And this is the point 7, 6. Okay? And so those are all points that are on the line. Okay? Next example. A line with slope of 4/3 passes through points 4, -5 and -2 what? In other words, we need to know what this y value is. Well, all we do is use the slope formula, because we know that this came from y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it would be -5 minus y over 4 minus -2. Okay, so 4/3 has to equal to -5 minus y over 6. Okay, and so then we can just solve for y. We can use means and extremes, so we get 24 equals 3 times -5 minus y. 24 equals -15 minus 3y. Add 15 to both sides. And we get 39 equals -3y. Divide both sides by -3. And we get -13 equals y. Okay, and so the y value that belongs here is -13. So -2, -13 is a point that that line passes through.